Welcome back to my channel Rare Coins Shop. If you love discovering hidden treasures, you're in the right place. First, we're revealing some coins that could be worth way more than you think. Stick around to find out. New here? Like, subscribe, and let's dive in. We have an incredible coin to discuss, a coin that might just be sitting in your collection or even buried in your change jar, and you don't even know it. We're talking about the 1964 5-cent coin, commonly known as the Jefferson nickel. Now, this coin may seem like just another 5-cent piece, but believe it or not, it could be worth a lot more than you think. Stick around until the end because we'll reveal exactly how much this coin could be worth today. Let's take a step back to 1964. It was a year of monumental change in the United States. The country was navigating through the early years of the 1960s, and politically, the country was going through a shift with President Lyndon B. Johnson taking office after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. But beyond the political stage, there were also significant things happening in the world of coinage. The 1964 Jefferson nickel is part of a long-standing series that was first introduced in 1938, featuring the iconic Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. The design of the Jefferson nickel has remained largely unchanged for decades, with Jefferson's portrait on the front and Monticello, Jefferson's historic home, featured on the reverse side. This coin has seen millions of iterations over the years, but there's something particularly special about the 1964 nickel that has collectors on the hunt. What makes this specific coin stand out? Well, in terms of design, there's not much different about the 1964 5-cent coin compared to its other counterparts. What really gives this coin value is its rarity and condition. The 1964 Jefferson nickel was minted in Denver, with the D mint mark denoting the place of production. It's not unusual to find 1964 nickels in your pocket change, but finding one that's in exceptional condition, uncirculated, or with a unique feature is what makes this coin highly sought after in the world of numismatics. Let's talk about the condition first. Most coins you come across, including the 1964 Jefferson nickel, have likely been through years of circulation, passed from hand to hand, exposed to the elements, and generally worn down. The more a coin has been used, the less valuable it typically becomes. But if you happen to have a 1964 nickel that has been kept in pristine condition, free from any signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, you've got something special. Coins that have been preserved in mint or near mint condition are prized by collectors because they are harder to come by. While millions of these coins were minted, very few have survived in perfect condition, making those that have much more valuable. If you happen to have a 1964 nickel that's virtually untouched, you're sitting on a potential goldmine. Now, let's dive into the exciting part, the rarity. While millions of these 1964 coins were produced, some have become rarer over the years due to their condition, especially coins that were never circulated and remain in uncirculated state. Additionally, there are always those elusive minting errors that make certain coins even more valuable. Minting errors can range from double strikes, off-center strikes, and missing or incomplete designs. These kinds of mistakes turn an ordinary coin into a unique collectible, and collectors love finding these rare variants. Imagine finding a 1964 Jefferson nickel with a double strike, where the image of Jefferson appears twice or off-center, making the coin even more visually interesting and one-of-a-kind. These error coins are highly sought after by collectors, and their value can skyrocket depending on the severity of the error. If you happen to stumble upon a minting error in your 1964 nickel, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than you ever thought possible. And now, for the part that you've been waiting for, the value of the 1964 Jefferson nickel. While most circulated versions of the coin will only be worth a few cents, an uncirculated 1964 nickel in excellent condition can be worth hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. But if you're lucky enough to have a coin with a significant minting error or one that has been perfectly preserved since it was minted, the value can reach staggering amounts. So, how much can the 1964 Jefferson nickel actually be worth? A well-preserved example of this coin can fetch around a few $1,000s, but if you have a coin with a rare minting error or one that is in pristine, uncirculated condition, it can be worth up to $144,000. Yes, you heard that right, $144,000. It's incredible to think that a simple 5-cent coin, something that might have spent years in circulation or been forgotten in your change jar, could hold such immense value. Now, you may be wondering how to identify whether your 1964D nickel is worth that much. Start by closely examining its condition. Is it flawless, with crisp details and no signs of wear? If it looks like it could have just been minted yesterday, you might be on to something big. Next, look for any minting errors, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or any other noticeable imperfections. If you find anything unusual, it's worth having the coin professionally appraised to determine its value. If you think you might have a rare 1964D Jefferson nickel, your next step should be to reach out to a professional coin dealer or numismatist who can help you evaluate its worth. They will be able to provide you with a more accurate appraisal and help you understand just how valuable your coin could be. In conclusion, the 1964D Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can hold tremendous value, especially when it is in excellent condition or has a rare minting error. Whether it's the coin's rarity, its condition, or the uniqueness of a minting mistake, this 5-cent piece could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So, next time you find a 1964D nickel in your change or dust off your old coin collection, take a closer look. You might just have a small fortune in your hands. Second rare coin, we have an incredible find for you, something that could be hiding in your change jar or tucked away in your collection, ready to make you a fortune. We're talking about the 1975D 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel. If you think this coin is just another nickel, think again. This small piece of history could be worth much more than you ever imagined. Stick around because in just a few moments, we're going to reveal exactly how much this 1975 Denver minted coin could be worth. Let's take a quick look back at 1975. It was a year of change and reflection in the United States. The country was dealing with the aftermath of the Vietnam War, political changes, and a shifting economic landscape. Amidst all of this, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins, including the beloved Jefferson nickel. Introduced in 1938, the Jefferson nickel has seen several designs, but the one we're focusing on today features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, and his historic home, Monticello, on the reverse. For many of us, this coin is an everyday part of life, but there's something very special about the 1975D 5-cent coin that you'll want to hear about. So, why does the 1975D Jefferson nickel stand out in the world of coin collecting? Well, as you might guess, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and some key features that make certain coins worth far more than their face value. When it comes to the 1975D nickel, one of the most important factors is its condition. Like many other coins, the 1975D nickel was produced in large quantities, so finding one in excellent condition is rare. Over the years, most of these nickels have been passed from hand to hand, thrown into change jars, used in vending machines, and generally worn down. The more a coin has been used, the less valuable it typically becomes. But if you happen to have a 1975D nickel that's in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth a lot more than you think. Coins in great condition, with sharp details and minimal signs of wear, are always in high demand among collectors. The 1975D nickel is no exception. Although millions were minted that year, a very small number were stored away in perfect condition, never to see circulation. These coins are the holy grail for numismatists, as they're considered much more valuable than their well-worn counterparts. So, if you have a 1975D nickel that looks like it just came out of the minting press, you're in luck, but it doesn't stop there. Minting errors are another factor that can significantly increase the value of a coin. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, whether it's a double strike, an off-center strike, or a missing design element. These errors turn an ordinary coin into something unique and highly collectible. For the 1975D Jefferson nickel, collectors are particularly interested in coins that feature these types of rare minting errors. If you find a 1975D nickel with a noticeable mistake in the design, such as a double strike or misaligned elements, you could be holding on to something extremely valuable. even though the 1975 D. Jefferson nickel was produced in large quantities, the unique characteristics of the coin, its condition, its rarity, and the possibility of minting errors, are what make it stand out among other coins. These factors are what drive the value up, turning a simple 5-cent piece into a highly sought-after collector's item. So, let's talk numbers. How much could your 1975 D. Jefferson nickel be worth? The truth is, the value depends on several factors. If your coin is in average or circulated condition, it's likely worth only a few cents more than face value. However, if you've managed to find one in mint or uncirculated condition, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But that's not all. If your coin happens to have a rare minting error or unique feature, the price can skyrocket to an unbelievable amount. And now, for the big reveal, how much could the 1975 D. Jefferson nickel be worth in its rarest and most pristine form? If you have a 1975 D nickel that's been carefully preserved, with no wear, sharp details, and maybe even a rare minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $120,000. Yes, that's right, $120,000. It's incredible to think that something as simple as a 5-cent coin could be worth so much, but that's the power of rarity, condition, and minting errors in the world of coin collecting. That if you're lucky enough to have a 1975 D. Jefferson nickel in your possession, here's what you should do next: carefully inspect it for any signs of wear and tear. If it looks brand new and shows no signs of circulation, you might have a highly valuable coin. Then, check for any unusual characteristics like double strikes or off-center minting. If you spot something out of the ordinary, it could be worth having the coin appraised by a professional numismatist to determine its true value. In conclusion, the 1975 D. Jefferson nickel is a prime example of how seemingly ordinary coins can turn out to be incredibly valuable treasures. Whether it's due to its condition, the possibility of minting errors, or just the rarity of finding a well-preserved coin, this nickel could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So, the next time you're going through your spare change or sorting through your coin collection, take a moment to inspect those 1975 D nickels. You might just have a rare find on your hands. Third expensive coin, we've got a real gem to uncover, a coin that's more valuable than you might think. It's not one of those rare gold coins or a shiny silver dollar, but rather a humble 5-cent piece that could be sitting in your collection or hiding in a jar of change. We're talking about the 1989 5 cents coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel. At first glance, this coin may look like just another nickel, but if you know what to look for, it could be worth far more than its face value. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be shocked by how much this simple coin could fetch. Let's start with a little background. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, featuring the likeness of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and a depiction of his home, Monticello, on the reverse. It's one of those coins that's been around for decades and is widely used in everyday transactions. But despite being a common sight in pocket change, there are certain versions of this coin, like the 1989 Jefferson nickel, that are worth far more than you would expect. Now, you may be wondering, why is the 1989 Jefferson nickel special? After all, millions of them were minted, and it seems like just another standard nickel. But as any serious coin collector knows, the value of a coin isn't just about how many were made, it's about condition, rarity, and sometimes even those little imperfections that make certain coins stand out. The 1989 nickel might not have an immediate wow factor like some rare ancient coins, but there's a lot more to this coin than meets the eye. One of the most important things that affect a coin's value is its condition. The 1989 Jefferson nickel, like all coins, was originally intended for everyday use. Most of the coins that were minted in 1989 were circulated extensively, spending time in wallets, pocketbooks, vending machines, and change jars. Over time, these coins become worn down, their details blurred, and their edges smoothed out. Because of this, most 1989 nickels are still worth just 5 cents, nothing special at all. But here's where it gets interesting. If you happen to have a 1989 nickel that's in pristine condition, something that hasn't been exposed to circulation or wear and tear, then you've got yourself something rare and highly valuable. Uncirculated coins, which are coins that have never been used in transactions and have been stored in perfect conditions, are far rarer than you might think. The key to their value lies in how well they've been preserved. A perfectly uncirculated 1989p nickel with crisp, sharp details and no signs of damage can fetch a much higher price than a circulated one. Even more intriguing, there are certain features and characteristics that collectors look for when determining the value of a coin. For the 1989p Jefferson nickel, the most significant factor is the quality of the coin's minting process. Coins that were struck with slight imperfections or errors, such as double strikes, off-center designs, or missing details, become incredibly rare and desirable. A nickel with an unusual error can become a prized possession in the coin collecting world, but let's be clear, finding one of these rare error coins isn't easy. Minting mistakes are relatively uncommon, but when they do occur, they make the coin all the more valuable. A 1989p Jefferson nickel with an error could be worth thousands of dollars, far more than a typical coin in excellent condition. So, how much could the 1989p Jefferson nickel be worth? If you're lucky enough to have a coin in uncirculated condition, you're already looking at a potentially valuable piece. But if you found one with a minting error, you might have stumbled upon something truly rare. The value of the 1989p nickel varies, but in the best cases, especially for uncirculated coins or coins with minting errors, it can be worth a staggering $80,000. Yes, you heard that right, $80,000. It's amazing to think that a coin worth just 5 cents could end up being worth such a huge amount, but that's the magic of rare coins. A well-preserved, error-free 1989p Jefferson nickel could be a collector's dream and could lead to a pretty hefty payday. Now that you know the value of this coin, let's talk about how to identify whether you've got a valuable 1989p Jefferson nickel on your hands. First, check the condition. If the coin looks like it's been kept in a safe place, away from circulation, it could be in excellent shape. Look for clear details on the portrait of Thomas Jefferson and Monticello on the reverse. If everything looks sharp and well-defined, you're off to a great start. Next, check for any minting errors. Carefully examine both sides of the coin. Look for any signs of doubling in the design or any part of the coin that seems out of alignment or missing. If you spot something unusual, it could be a rare minting error, which significantly boosts the value of the coin. When in doubt, don't hesitate to have your coin appraised by a professional. A coin dealer or numismatist can help determine if your coin is worth a small fortune. In conclusion, the 1989p Jefferson nickel may not be the first coin that comes to mind when thinking about valuable collectibles, but its potential worth is undeniable. With its historical significance, the possibility of minting errors, and the allure of uncirculated condition, this seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin can be worth a lot more than you think. Whether you find it in your pocket change or unearth it from an old coin collection, it's worth taking a closer look at those 1989p nickels. Who knows? You might just have a rare treasure on your hands. Now, we're diving deep into a rare treasure that could be sitting quietly in your collection or even hiding in your change jar. We're talking about the 1971 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel. This seemingly ordinary coin has a fascinating story to tell, and if you're lucky enough to have one in excellent condition, it might just be worth a small fortune. Stick around because we're about to reveal exactly how much this classic nickel could be worth. First, let's take a step back in time and set the stage. The year 1971 was a pivotal one in American history. The country was in the midst of significant political and social change, with the Vietnam War still making headlines and the civil rights movement continuing to push for equality and justice. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins, and one of the stars of the show was the 1971 Jefferson nickel, the Jefferson nickel, featuring the profile of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse, has been a staple of American currency since it was first introduced in 1938. Over the years, it's gone through various design tweaks and updates, but its core appeal has remained the same, a symbol of American history and heritage. The 1971 version, in particular, holds a special place in the hearts of collectors, and here's why. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1971 Jefferson nickel so valuable? After all, the U.S. Mint produced millions of them in 1971, and they were used extensively in everyday transactions. While that's true, the value of this coin, like any collectible, comes down to its rarity and condition. In fact, the 1971D nickel could be worth far more than you ever imagined if it has been preserved in uncirculated condition. You see, most of the 1971D Jefferson nickels that were minted have long since passed through the hands of countless individuals, going through wear and tear along the way. The more a coin circulates, the more it gets scratched, dinged, and worn down, which reduces its value. But here's the thing, finding a coin that's never been used in circulation is incredibly rare. A coin that has remained in pristine, uncirculated condition is a true treasure for collectors. And when it comes to the 1971D nickel, those coins in perfect condition are highly sought after, as they represent a moment in history frozen in time, but the story doesn't end there. Coin collectors and numismatists are always on the lookout for coins that have unique features, such as minting errors. Minting errors are an interesting aspect of coin collecting because they can drastically increase the value of a coin. For example, a double strike or off-center strike can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a rare find. These types of errors are not common, but when they do occur, they create a one-of-a-kind piece that stands out in the world of coin collecting. So, let's break it down a little further. The value of the 1971D Jefferson nickel depends on several factors: the coin's condition, its rarity, and whether it has any minting errors. A coin that's well worn and heavily circulated will likely be worth only its face value, or perhaps just a little more. But a coin that has been carefully stored, never exposed to circulation, and is in uncirculated condition could be worth much more. And if your 1971D nickel has a minting error, whether it's a double die, a missing detail, or an off-center strike, it could become an even rarer find and significantly increase in value. So, how much could this humble 5-cent coin actually be worth? Well, after factoring in condition and any possible minting errors, a well-preserved, uncirculated 1971D Jefferson nickel could fetch an impressive price. But if your coin is one of those rare finds with an error or is in absolutely pristine condition, you could be looking at something much more valuable. Here's the big reveal: if you have a 1971D Jefferson nickel in perfect condition, or better yet, one with a minting error, you could be holding onto a coin worth as much as $50,000. That's right, $50,000 for a single nickel. It's hard to believe that a 5-cent coin could be worth so much, but in the world of rare coins, anything is possible. Now that you know the potential value of the 1971D Jefferson nickel, it's time to take a closer look at your collection or any old coins you might have lying around. Check the condition of your coins carefully. If your 1971D nickel is in mint condition, with no signs of wear and sharp details, you could have a valuable find on your hands. Don't forget to check for any errors as well, as those can turn your nickel into a rare collectible worth far more than you ever thought possible. If you believe you have a rare 1971D nickel, it's worth having it appraised by a professional numismatist or coin dealer. They can help you determine its true value and guide you in making an informed decision about selling or keeping it in your collection. In conclusion, the 1971D Jefferson nickel may seem like just another everyday coin, but for collectors, it's a piece of American history with a lot of potential value. Whether it's due to its excellent condition, the possibility of a minting error, or just its rarity in top-notch form, this nickel could be worth a small fortune. So, take a moment to check your change and collections. Who knows, you might just have a coin that's worth far more than its face value. Last unique coin, we have a coin that might just surprise you with its potential value, a coin that you likely wouldn't expect to fetch a significant amount, but trust us, it's worth paying attention to. We're talking about the 1974 U.S. 5-cent coin, commonly known as the Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it might seem like just another nickel in your pocket change, but there's so much more to this little coin than meets the eye. Stick with us until the end of this video, and you'll see why this 1974 nickel could be worth far more than its face value. The Jefferson nickel, introduced in 1938, is a staple of U.S. coinage, featuring the portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. Over the years, This coin has gone through various design changes, but the 1974 version remains a significant year for the Jefferson Nickel series. What makes this particular nickel so intriguing to collectors is not just its historical significance, but the unique features that can make it valuable to the right buyer. You see, while the U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins in 1974, most of them circulated widely and are easily found today in average condition. The key to this coin's potential value lies in its rarity, especially when it comes to the condition of the coin. If you've ever looked through your change jar or dug through a coin collection, you probably know that most coins from the 1970s have seen better days. Most of these 1974 Jefferson nickels have been well worn through years of circulation, meaning they show signs of wear, scratches, dings, and even discoloration. These factors significantly affect their value, but here's the good news: if you're fortunate enough to have a 1974 Jefferson nickel in near-perfect or uncirculated condition, then you could be sitting on a real gem. Uncirculated coins are a rare breed. These coins never make it into circulation, so they retain their crisp details, vibrant design, and shiny surface. Finding a 1974 nickel in uncirculated condition is no easy feat, and it's this very rarity that elevates the coin's value. If your 1974 Jefferson nickel has been carefully stored in pristine conditions, free from scratches or discoloration, it becomes far more desirable to collectors and can command a premium price. But that's not all. When it comes to coin collecting, it's not just about how good the coin looks, it's also about whether there are any unique or rare features that make the coin stand out. For the 1974 Jefferson nickel, one of the most intriguing factors that can increase its worth is the possibility of minting errors. As with many other coins, the 1974 Jefferson nickel could have been struck with slight imperfections, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or other anomalies that occurred during the minting process. These errors are not only fascinating from a historical perspective, but they also make the coin even more valuable to collectors who specialize in error coins. Imagine holding a 1974 Jefferson nickel that's been struck off-center, or one where you can clearly see a double die error on Thomas Jefferson's portrait. These errors are rare and can make the coin worth far more than a typical example. The more unique the minting error, the higher the price it could fetch. So, if you find a 1974 nickel with an unusual flaw, you may have discovered a valuable collector's item. Now, you're probably wondering how much this coin could be worth if it's in pristine condition or has one of those rare minting errors. While a standard 1974 Jefferson nickel in average condition is worth only 5 cents, a coin in uncirculated condition can be valued at several $100s. But when it comes to rare minting errors or a coin with impeccable details, the price skyrockets. A top-tier 1974 Jefferson nickel, with its original sharp features, could fetch an impressive sum on the open market. And now, for the big reveal. If you happen to have a 1974 Jefferson nickel that's in mint condition or has a significant minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $35,000. Yes, you heard that right, $35,000 for a single 5-cent coin. It's hard to believe that a simple nickel could reach such a high price, but in the world of coin collecting, even the most modest coins can hold incredible value if they are rare and well-preserved. So, what should you do if you think you found a valuable 1974 Jefferson nickel? First, carefully examine the coin. Look for any signs of wear or imperfections. If the coin looks almost as good as the day it was minted, with crisp details and no visible damage, then you might have a winner. Next, check for any minting errors. Use a magnifying glass to closely inspect the coin for any unusual features or discrepancies in the design. If you see something that looks out of place, whether it's a doubled feature, an off-center strike, or a missing detail, it's time to get that coin appraised by a professional. It's always a good idea to have your rare coins evaluated by an expert in numismatics. A professional coin dealer or appraiser can help you determine the true value of your 1974 Jefferson nickel and guide you through the process of selling or keeping it in your collection. In conclusion, the 1974 Jefferson nickel might seem like just another everyday coin, but when it comes to collectors, it's a piece of American history with great potential. With its unique features, potential minting errors, and rarity in uncirculated condition, this 5-cent coin could be worth much more than you ever expected. If you find one of these coins in great shape, or better yet, one with a minting error, you could be sitting on a rare treasure. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed learning about rare coins and their potential value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Happy collecting, and remember to always keep an eye out for those hidden gems in your pocket change.